nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. You all should hold your heads in shame. You find it hard to call my name. They say you walk the ways of truth. Dishonesty, you teach the youth. God bless me, hear what I say. By your works, you shall get there. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Your intentions from the start shows up plain what's in your heart. They thought you had to get my song. Think you fooled me, but you were wrong. Shadow sleep, as you well know. The results will tell you so. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Shame, shame. No song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. Can't come by me for no song again. Get me song, didn't pay a cent. So my feelings I must vent. With deceit you come so cool. But time will tell, don't get fool. Night is run till they catch him. And in reverse it's the same thing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. You all should hold your heads in shame. You find it hard to call my name. They say you walk the ways of truth. Dishonesty, you teach the youth. God bless me, hear what I say. By your works, you shall get there. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Your intentions from the start shows up plain what's in your heart. They thought you had to get my song. Think you fooled me, but you were wrong. Shadow sleep, as you well know. The results will tell you so. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing. Shame, shame. You come by me for no song again. Shame, shame. You come by me for nothing, nothing.
Yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, it is, of course, the Monday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. You thought I would have been, it would have been a prolonged absence, but while, of course, things are not perfect, and I was hoping to beam from the George Street facility tonight, I must say that I'm in the old studio still. Of course, we tried our best, but I couldn't disappoint, and further, that is, and therefore I had to, of course, to come on tonight. But of course, I want you to enjoy, of course, the music of not so well known, but nonetheless a budding artist, and of course, what I consider to be performers. And we are going to, of course, as we would normally do, whether Carnival, no Carnival, just before Carnival, just after Carnival, we will, of course, promote to those who may have not been able, or should I say, been cast under, or would not have been noticed because they were under the radar. Enjoy.
There's always a way to go, but in this life, all things we shall never know. The road is long and there are many signs, but make up your mind and take your time. Do your best with all your might, but don't forget, never give up the fight. Step it up, people. Step it up. Get out of the bubble, my people. Shake it up. Stay out of trouble, people. Wake it up. Bring back.
Yes, indeed. Good advice, splendid advice. Stay out of trouble. You young people, of course, who may be inclined to be attracted by home invasions and the spoils thereof. Well, I want to tell you, it is temporary, it is ephemeral, and it therefore will not be able to sustain you throughout your very tender life into, of course, middle age and old age. So therefore, you must desist from, of course, this kind of activity that will shorten your life on this planet. And of course, as the saying goes, we have only one life to live. Well, of course, pleasant good night to all and sundry once again. Welcome, of course, to the Corridor Transformation. Your host, Lennox Smith. Yes, it seems as though it was about, 5, 6, 8 years that we did not, of course, communicate. Well, no, I want to tell you, it's just about 4 or 5 days. And, of course, you would appreciate that if Lennox Smith absents himself for 4 to 5 days, it must be something beyond his control, because, of course, of his track record of tenaciousness, and regardless whether it's Christmas or whether it is Carnival, I am expected to be on duty. Well, the imperative of having to move to more, I must say, spacious and accommodating environment, I must say so. But unfortunately, we thought we would have had the final move today. It has not turned out to be so. Yes, we got the water in. Yes, we got, of course, the electricity in. So we can see and we can power the equipment. But of course, all is not final in terms of the tweeting of the, should I say, the toilet and other facilities and access to the water supply. Not that it doesn't have water in the building, but of course we had to do some more plumbing, in other words. So, and sanitary plumbing, so you understand, if you have a woman there in particular, you need to make certain that the place is that accommodating, whether for visitors or for persons who would have volunteered their service. So that is why we have been further delayed, And I expect, not tomorrow, but certainly by Wednesday, I will be beaming from, of course, George Street. I'm excited, and as it is exciting. But of course, I open up the lines immediately. Of course, you know the number to call, WhatsApp only, 337-6940. And I want to tell those who are familiar with that on my personal phone, well, I've misplaced my phone, so I have to get a new one, of course, and see if I can get back that number so that we do not lose communication too much. We have already have had 4 days, and people, of course, are extremely impatient. People are calling up and down. I have to, of course, sometimes avoid by asking my assistant to take the call. That is how I avoid, because I have to be focused and to make certain that things are better. And of course, I want to tell you, where we are, we couldn't get a certain kind of internet connection that we would prefer. Not that we don't have the resources, but because of the location and the height of the building. Well, yes, so we are 4 floors up I'm talking about 4 floors up in the old building where I'm at the present time on Park Street, opposite Victoria Square. But now, of course, but in that scenario, not even Digicel could have, of course, put us to a cable system that would be much more reliable than what we would have been able to acquire from TSTT. Let me put it that way. So we are better off with, and you will see some consistency in terms of quality. Let me repeat, you will see some consistency in terms of when we get, of course, the new connections. In the meantime, I don't have, of course, a monitoring system, so I cannot gauge as to whether or not you are on or not. I have to rely, of course, on those who are in studio, and I tell you, everybody is working. So yesterday, it was pain. I talked about literal muscle pain. And it didn't matter whether you are younger than me or not. The fact is that what I consider to be sudden and intense exertion, physically, kinetic energy, has produced, of course, tired muscles and aching muscles. So, of course, I was vacillating between whether we should have a short program tonight or the usual version. We'll see how it goes. And if, of course, I have to shorten, I will tell you. And if it goes the distance until 10 o'clock, well, it is because of my commitment and dedication. It is not less, of course, my commitment and dedication if, of course, we finish before. But I just want to make sure that at least I see it through to the end. And that being as it may, of course, a number of things that we would have wanted to address. Of course, we have the gathering on the 18th of this month, yes, expressing our disgust, and we expect a massive turnout. We begin opposite, of course, the Express on Barnara Promenade, when, of course, we will gather. We don't have to have any permission from the police for that. They tried to, of course, on several occasions, to act ultra vires their responsibility until, of course, a patriot took the matter to court and it is settled. The police cannot and therefore have no say in gatherings in public places. None whatsoever. The law is clear. According, of course, to those who have been given the responsibility to of course, interpret the laws of the country, not the police, the judges. Let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome. All right, we lost that one. So you can call now, as I said, The lines are open. And as I said, I have no monitoring still because we expected to be operating from George Street tonight, but that didn't happen, and it will not happen until about Wednesday, when we will feel much more assured that the things are totally in place. But that being as it may, we have to continue to work. And as I said, the 18th is a red letter day, barring unforeseen, let me put it that way, that may militate against. However, in spite of that, and let's assume that the 18th didn't come off, well, we have an alternative plan still. No evil formed against his people can prevail. It's just as how PNM cannot prevail in this country, and the evil clearly is the PNM. That being as it may, of course, let me once again thank all of those persons who have been working and continue to work to assist us to move across to George Street. Quite a lot of equipment, quite a lot of what I consider to be administrative, physical items. We're talking about filing cabinets, we're talking about desks, chairs, tables. And of course, I want to thank those who, in the midst of all of that, have decided, of course, to throw in their little kakada and their little contribution as well. So we have gotten, of course, toilet bowls and sets donated. We have gotten, of course, ceiling material. We have gotten, of course, plumbing material. And most importantly, volunteers to, of course, execute, implement, and do these civil engineering works for which we would not have had the opportunity, or should I say the resources, to expend and still buy material. So, God bless. I want to thank all of you. And of course, don't forget, Andy is under the weather. He has not asked me to do anything on this program, neither on the ground report, but we are a team. And those of you who would call him, maybe when we settle down on Wednesday, I'll give you a number that will be, of course, flashing across the screen, so that you can call Andy, wish him well, but tell him what you have for him as far as an envelope with some kind of contribution is concerned. Right? It's very, very important. But let's get, of course, straight to the topic of the moment. And that is, of course, let's see what is happening here.
Remember, there are those detractors. Remember, Jesus Christ had the detractors too. I'm not Jesus.
Yes, indeed. Detractors. And
Right.
everybody.
God, be proud of all those young men and women that we placed in the parliament. They were the children of the rank and file of the UNC, and I will lead you and lead them. And when I'm gone, it will be your children who will lead the UNC from the rank and file. So tonight, I want to say a special good night to all my MPs gathered here tonight. And they all work hard, not just the kindergarten ones, the ones who are not just above the kindergarten. So let me recognize them. Rudy and Dar Singh MP, thank you. Ravi Ram, Tanku fall in the middle, you know. David Lee falls in the middle too, I guess. But all of these MPs, I thank you all so much for the work that you do outside the parliament. I recognize also our senators. Senator Gillian John, as you know, Senator Naked, all the senators in the upper house, you know them, let's congratulate them. And give me 1 minute to make a special hail out or call out to a great woman. She sends me text messages, you know, all the time. And she's always on the Facebook. She's a keyboard warrior. Her name is Joyce Garoui. Gori, you know her. She's from Piparo. and she's 79 years old. Let's hail her out, and thank her. So from the kindergarten people to the people outside the kindergarten, they all work with us. And we can't forget the man who delivers all the babies, Dr. Lakram Bodo. I think he is in the middle grouping as well. Thank you, Dr. Bodo. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't leave out any of you. Saddam, well, you're in the kindergarten class, so you are graduating from it. Now, at these Monday night meetings, we try our very best to convey to the audience, nationally, and right here as you are here, the work of the UNC as part of our country's leadership. We talk about the contribution of the UNC parliamentarians, of our local government representatives. This crop of LG representatives, they are one of the best that we've ever had for all the corporations. The councillors and the aldermen, they step up and they fight. So we share with you what they're doing, what they plan to do. I share with you my role as opposition leader in guiding not only the UNC, but also our 300,000 plus supporters. And we do that, we guided you through a very tumultuous, polarized time for the last 8.5 years. That was not an easy task. When you look at other political parties struggling to get off the ground, it was not easy to keep this party strong, united over the last 8.5 years. And so we thank all the teams. In a real sense, UNC continues to bring together high ratings, massive turnout everywhere. We can attribute the success to hard work, the consistent leadership that brings a huge puzzle together. Something, as I said, not easy to do. As we continue our journey towards the next election, I agree that we should embrace individuals or groups who share our vision for mainstream politics rather than just a parochial vision. I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying. We will embrace individuals or groups who share our vision for development, for service to people. But at the same time, we must demand discipline and equal effort from those who wish to join us. We must demand.
You see, on the last occasion, somebody, of course, inquired as to my views on the subject of the comments and the apparent friction, the apparent, should I say, fissures, division, fragmentation, and apparent public deterioration of relations between, of course, the NTA and Gary Griffith, and of course the UNC, and Gary Griffith, of course, going on a tangent and a verbal frolic of his own. Because I don't know why people will ask me what is my view. My view is not important, but for the uninitiated, you would know that I have always advocated that it is the UNC that, above all and sundry newcomers, have demonstrated that they would have outlived the ephemeral and temporary presence of what I consider to be empty vessels making plenty noise. Particularly when they try, of course, to unseat by verbal, vacuous, and nonsensical, and irrational, and dotish, and what I consider to be incongruent statements, maligning, of course, the UNC and Kamala in order to gain some kind of political currency. Let's go straight, of course, to the lines. Pleasant good night. Yes, my friend. Hello? Hello.
Lennox, pleasant good night. Pleasant
Good
good
night.
night to you and everybody on the line.
Boy, pressure like first time, but things are happening. I'll talk to you after the program with our business. Any other thing?
Nah, you go ahead, man. We done missed so much days already, man. I want to take up more of your time. You go ahead and talk and let me know what's going on in the country.
All right,
Proceed.
my friend.
Doctor, not listening.
Yes. All right. Yes. So, yes, people. So here it is. My position on those what I consider to be apparent antagonism and antagonistic commentary turns out to be exactly what I would have said, because you don't want a better statement than, of course, Philip Alexander confirming, agreeing, condescending, humbling, and say categorically that Kamala is correct and that the PEP, whether late, whether too late, whether they can salvage some kind of dignity and place of purpose in the politics. That will be a matter for, of course, the general electorate and the general public. But it is interesting because that follows the presence of Selwyn Kojo, another advocate for destruction of the UNC, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa in vitriolic as well as excoriating statements that, of course, no human being in their right mind and absorption could tolerate. But Kamala Prasad Bisesa went through it all. And the UNC, by extension, went through it all. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you. Good night to you.
This is Valsing calling here.
Yes, indeed. How are you this night?
I am good, but I'm not so good. The 5 fishermen were lost in sea. 2 is my nephew. 1 is my sister husband, which is my brother-in-law. 1 is the neighbor son, and 1 is a Spanish.
Oh.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Very unfortunate. Only tragedy after tragedy coming trend.
And they are young people.
Yeah.
And watch me. You know what I can't understand? You know what I can't understand? Coming in we water, we land, taking me man, taking me woman, taking me children, taking me husband, and we can't do nothing about that. Because you know why? Rowley went on Samba with Maduro and said, bring them come. You know, Mr. Lennox, we are hurting.
Yeah.
We are hurting. And you know why? Nobody has come out. Nobody has come out. It's 5 young boys. My 2 nephews, my sister husband, and nobody don't care damn about. You understand? But if we phone the loss in the labas, right? If a minister phone the fall in the labas, right? They would have get GPS.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can't even find those persons who are responsible for the oil spill off Tobago.
Right? If a minister's son, the phone fall in the labas and a beat them, they would have get it. But I want to tell Rowley, I want to tell the opposition also too. Right? I'm not lying to tell nobody. I ain't taking for no side study. The way how we hurting for 5 young men and nobody never do nothing for we. You hear? Nobody never do nothing for we. We are hurting. We are hurting. Right? If we get closure for my brother-in-law and my two nephew and the neighbors, we could say, well, okay. But where the eight vote, the coast guard vehicle, they're going to put out 100 million for. Wait. Mr. Lennox, all you need to take a drive in Sea-Dress and see the damn nonsense going by the Coast Guard and the police.
I'm going to do that. I personally.
All you need, right? And I heard Mr. Rima, or I don't know whoever, I thank you for your commitment that she's, listen to me, my nephew and them never married. When we ask them, the Coast Guard, and we ask the police, we try my best. But where the $100 million? Where the $100 million they're going to put out the 8 Coast Guard for? When Colin Embott's son fall, his phone fall in the lava, they could have found it with GPS. Oh my God. Mr. Lennox, you don't know how we grieving. You don't know how we grieving. Right? I want you to have a good night and safe journey home. But you don't know how we grieving. That is my sister. 2 sons and her husband. But they don't care damn about nobody.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Of course, who is in it feels it. That's how it is. If you are in the fire, you're going to feel the fire. Those who are outside of the fire, but while of course they may sympathize, but they cannot empathize because they have not been burnt. But there is a saying as well. If you play with fire, you ultimately will be burnt. And so the population played with fire by voting in Rowley and his gang of opportunistic political parasites, who clearly have demonstrated incapacity not only to be ineffective, unmitigated and bizarre capacity to simply destroy and destroy and destroy. They promise a utopia, and they promise the good life, and they promise, of course, that the quality of life and standard of living of the people will improve after the elections of 2015. Today, the country is eating the bread that the devil need, and Rowley and his cohorts and minions are co-conspirators in the bizarre, macabre, and downtrodden scenario and situation that Trinidad and Tobago has found itself. And mind you, they have the audacity, the temerity, the gall, the effrontery, and the boldfacedness, ablum people, to tell us that things are going to be all right. Well, they said that in 2015. It was also said in 2016. It was said in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and now we are in 24. But thank God, when in 2017 and 18 and 19 we were saying, is there more to come? And how could we tolerate? We see that the Lord pull us through, and 2025 is at hand. A pleasant good night. Welcome. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
Yes, you hear me clearly. I hear you clear. You're singing good tonight.
Thank you.
You're looking nice. You're smiling, Lennox.
Thank you.
No. Lennox, I don't know how to talk after listening to that lady there from Valsine.
Yes, yes, yes.
Lennox, people that be saying I only talking about Venezuela and Maduro, and they don't want to hear about this and that about these people. Listen now. If you don't listen, you won't get to understand and siphon, figure out things, right? You have to listen. You have to hear. When I started calling here, you placed me as the reporter to report for, Latin news.
Latin
And I will
America,
come and
yes.
bring over whatever information I get, what, with more concern here,
That's right.
right? You even gave me the name Miss Arima. I didn't give myself that name. You understand? So, whenever I come and show the country something about this man, it's important, right?
That's right.
Now, about these Venezuelans coming into our waters, they have all rights, just like us, to come in here. Our government signed document and give that right. I told you all that before, and I'm going to repeat it again. There is nothing we can do about it. There's a trade going on. They call it a fish trade. When they went to sign the Dragon Gas deal, they agreed to these things, to do a trade, to ease up on the contraband it used to be having. So they have all rights to come here, right? And we have all rights to go in their water. Don't let Etelbert talk boom or shite fall you. I vexed tonight.
Go
I
ahead.
vexed since last week. You hear what I'm telling you? He talking shite because he damn well know we could go and do our trade there, they could come here, right? But the thing is, if we go there, they're killing you. Remember these people threaten us when the baby head blow off, and they told us that they will kill anybody they meet out in that water, especially where these people went, because it's from there they pass and come in with the child. You see how bold-faced they are, right? So we don't know what go down there. We don't know if it's because they have this revenge. We don't know if the boat sink. We don't know if, they try to kidnap Boatun. I don't know what to say. But I know we could demand some help from the Venezuelan authorities because we have that right. Again, documents signed where they will have a control with the border, a joint patrol, right? If we want to go into their country, it have documents could sign, and our law enforcement could go over in the country to search or find out anything. We have a foreign affairs minister. It ain't just so. We the citizens, right, have to fight and demand that the Venezuelan authorities assist in the search for these men. And it ain't only fishermen could go in the waters of Venezuela, and they are fishermen here. Any boat person want to go there, allowed to could go. They have that right. And people don't know this thing. They're not talking. So they might go the next 2 years, stand up in the parliament and tell you what I say. Just like how Stoti stand up the other day and say that they signed gas deal when the torture woman, that's her name, the torturer, Delcy Rodriguez, coming here. Now, I want to touch on a little thing here with the Tobago man they call Silver Fox. You came, you went on the ground report to say something last week. I hear you. But I made a statement here. I say something here. I comment on something on this program concerning Tobago. When you want to talk about anything, right? I find you could have talked here because it's here I talk. You didn't have to go where it had a wide audience to say something and to talk all kind of thing, all kind of thing. And I'm saying it alleged I'm mad. It alleges a big jack a donkey. You hear? Because You and I just talk over the phone, all kind of thing. And if you continue with your whining, if you feel I afraid you, let me see who could whine more than who. You understand? Because I had asked you a couple months ago about Coast Guard vessel in your country there. How you all feel that you don't have Coast Guard vessels. We don't need it. Tobago small. All you need that. You could remember that. And I had mentioned at the begonia, and I didn't call your name, but since you're so fresh to be talking the way you're talking, and I know it's influenced, you're influenced by a certain one, right? To talk so. Try and keep it down. Because we reach a terrible state right now with all kind of thing coming inside of here and people dying innocently with these Venezuelan people. Right? We're supposed to cooperate. We're supposed to talk. So try and stop the whining. Lennox,
Hey.
thanks for letting me talk tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
no
a good
problem.
night.
No problem. And let me just confirm once again that I consider Miss Arima as our Latin American correspondent, if you want to call that. It's just how Miss Santa Cruz is seen as our external correspondent on a wide range of matters. But of course, Miss Arima, I think that because she can speak the language, she understands it, and she has always been looking as from day one the interests of Trinidad and Tobago in relations, of course, to Venezuela. Sometimes she will express her biases, but of course, after all, she's only human, and all of us will have, of course, our preferences, that we put it that way, and will, of course, color what we want to say. It may be nestled in some kind of exaggeration, but at the same time, one cannot falter for being in a state of mind that is well-meaning and good-intended. Good-intended and well-meaning. Of course, I was passed a note from in our in-house monitors. Don't forget, we still need equipment and so on for the George Street facility, whether it be toilets, etc. I will talk to you a little more. Let's go to this line. Let's go to this call. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you as well.
Pleasant good night to all the callers.
Yes.
And a special good night to Miss Arima. Miss Arima, Mr. Freeport saying, talk your talk it loud. Because it have people that talk, they talk. And they don't have no problem. But when you talk, and me, Mr. Freeport talk, Mr. Tanapuna talk, and Mr. Brazil talk, they just have a lot of problem. So talk where you know. And I just talk where I know. Everything I talk is what I know going on here. Right? So Lennox, how things with you, boy?
Well, of course, we had a very tough 2 days. A weekend was well tough. We still have downstairs this building here now. I think you have been here already, so you know it's 4th floor. And we had to tow down some because things couldn't fit in the elevator. So, in fact, I'm going to tell you this. It may sound funny, but we had a long conference table that we couldn't figure out how to take down. It's sticking on that table. Guess what? I get the carpenter to cut it in two. And it was easily towed down in the elevator. So that's a telling the kind of challenges that we have. But of course, we are fighting up and we will eventually get there. We have to find ways to treat to this matter, man. All right? So I just given you that insight to show you how challenging
the only thing, the only thing why I'm sorry, or you're real busy. Because you see those wheelchair?
Yes.
It's going good.
All right.
The system going very well.
Yeah, when we settle down, we'll be able to.
I feel I had to call Anne-Marie and talk to Anne-Marie and see if I could take up some of the personnel on board and try to assist them, because I know you're busy.
Yes, yes, yes. Really appreciate that.
So
Really
if it
appreciate that.
feasible for I to, go and meet them and thing, I would do
Right.
it.
Oh, good, good.
So
That'll
let
be
me see
nice.
what's
That'll be
going
nice.
on. Hope all
Yeah.
you get on good. Last night the program was real distorted, but I couldn't listen it.
Well, last night I just had an apology.
Hello?
I just had an apology last night. Really, it wasn't a program as such. It was just an apology. So, the new usual. But when we get across there, I can assure you, because the what I consider to be the logistics for getting a better internet connection, I think, is much more what I consider to be salubrious or perfect than, of course, where we are now. All right. So rest assured, it will be better. That is our hope. All right.
Try and talk to Miss Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Try. Until you see them hungry, more people who come in to eat our food. If you have
All
to
of
feed them on the pavement.
all of them coming.
Feed them
All
on
of
the
them coming.
pavement.
All of them coming. All of them. But we don't treat
I
them.
tell all you this. I tell all you this already, Lennox.
Yes.
I tell all you this already. All those unions, all those organizations that was riding the ground report back. All of them turn their back on the ground report. And it's the same thing happen with Miss Kamala. Everybody come in, they just using up the UNC to get a name, and then they start to backbite like greedy dog. Right? So I have a problem with that. I prefer she go alone. If you have to stay in opposition, stay alone. Don't join with people and still have to go in opposition, because I hear a man, I wouldn't call her name, I hear a man saying, if we, the small party, don't join up with the UNC, we cannot get in government. And now he want to, how to say, compete against the UNC. Wait till you really see what you're doing, you know. So hey, let me give somebody else a chance.
Yeah.
I
All right.
hope
All right,
that
my
one
friend.
of
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that if you had some additional comment to make. But I was so anxious to say Gary Gibbon. Gary Gibbon, he always nestles his argument in history. And he doesn't, he never, of course, veer or direct his mind to the fact that those who ended up, whether they joined or not, ended up by the wayside as far as a third party is concerned. Let me repeat. The third parties always end up by the wayside, but they always have strength before elections. Before elections, they always have strength. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, how you doing?
Hey.
This is Raj from Orlando.
Hey, how we going, man? How we going? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear, man. I'm getting you really good now. I'm so glad that we can
All right, I
see
hope that
everything,
continues. I hope that continues. That should be a good sign.
Yeah, I listened to the crime talk. And it was good, but tell Freeport, because I'm from Freeport too. Tell Freeport that we need to get in power in order to get things done. If we're in opposition, we cannot get nothing. We'll be springing top and bottom. And it work that way. Yes, we welcome everybody, but I believe in it that you have to be in power to get things done. No
Yes.
matter we have to ask other people to come in the party or join me. I mean, I'm a UN man. I'm always a party man from ever since. Because I'm not young. I'm old, over 60. But the thing is, we need to get everybody to come. Everybody has to join us. We get power, and then we can use the sifter and sift. But we have to get it power. Otherwise, we get nothing done.
Yes.
We won't have no money. All right, then I'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I hold no brief for Mr. Freeport, but I think I know him sufficiently to know that he really didn't mean that. What he was saying, that to the extreme of the extremes, it's not that he doesn't expect the UNC to get into power, because of course, whether the present antagonism prevails or continues, the UNC will get into office, but the measure of defeat for the PNM is the issue, or in other words, the success of the UNC at the electoral polls and the extent is what is the important thing here. President, good night, welcome. President, good night, welcome.
Good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Well, good night to you as well,
and all the listeners,
yes,
on the World Wide Web,
yes,
and the slave catchers.
Hello? We seem to have lost you, boy. Seem to have lost you. I'm not picking you up on the system, so please call back. All right, he's calling back now, so let me just go there. All right, let's go there. Welcome. Welcome. Sorry about that. I think we got a disconnection inadvertently, of course. Go ahead, my friend.
So once again, good night to each and everyone, and to the slave catchers. Mr. Lennox, in 1951, there was a guy by the name of Sir Baris Maharaj. And a little quick history for the listeners, and to put the narrative straight. He was for the indentured laborers and the poor and vulnerable. Eric William was so good in corrupting that man to sell his patrimony to the PNM, to Eric William, and to be faithful, to lobby his supporters to vote for Eric William. Eric William tried to fight the system from since 1951 till his death in 1981. And yet still, our citizens of the Republic will understand. In the coming of the ULF, the FP, and all who are the ONR and the NAR, and all those who went against the principle, fundamental rights of serving the people, end up in the political dustbin. And yes, there's gain momentum, because the blue-eyed boy, Mr. Ramesh Maharaj, he had two parties, the Rainbow and Team Unity. And when they disappear. Then they come with the COP, the Congress of the People of Dukaran, when he could not see eye to eye with Mr. Basdev Pandey and the UNC. Then they dissolve and they go into the breeze. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. And now they are voiceless. Because they serve their own self-seeking interest. Because right now Dukaran is on the board anticipating the asset of FICO and the advisor to the finance ministers and them. So you see, that's what they will come for in a political party. Just like David Abdullah with the MSJ, he came into the UNC and now he knows all the corruption and everything. He went out there. His own political party didn't stand up for the workers at the refinery and Petrotrin and had a voice and a robust voice to fight for labor, and which he was a party of our labor. So you see, they try to use the propaganda machine to see if they could put themselves into office, propel themselves into office on the word of corruption. Then you see the big man, to be a big man in life is to accept you're wrong. And when you see eye to eye, that you know that country comes first, this is what these guys are doing. And Ms. Kamala Prasad, the honorable leader, asks for all those who want to join for the sake of the country. They are welcome in the House of the Rising Sun. But they shall know that that is a leader. Did not condone even hearsay accusations against ministers and them. She sent them on holiday forthwith and make sure she discipline is at the highest level. Where you see it in the PNM today, all public and all misbehavior in public office to the highest level, and Rowley is holding them together because he wants to stay in power. So we are the people now. We get our machinery, we get our tools, and they are coming closer now. And they line a few slave catchers change the narrative, because I see on a program on another frequency, they have nothing to talk about. But a minister who could not spell potato, Mr. Lennox, I can't read and write, you know me. I can't read and write so good. But a minister who could not spell potato, at least he could not hear good. That when Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa said that they refer to them as sheep, and then they say, bring more sheep, and that is the people, the membership we're talking about. Where details in that? Which one is more grievously bodily harm? that you have no food, no money, you get 1% after how much years and cost of living and freeze of wages, and you get threatened that if you negotiate and you protest, you will get your money and you will go home. Which one is more discriminating? So you see, we have to know what is before us. And this program is to tell us that we must be together and our brothers keepers and let us unite because we have a common enemy. Because the PNM had the treasury, because CPAP get paid, it's so quiet to this, nobody didn't know if nobody didn't talk about it. The people still getting sewer water, if Anderson don't talk about it, you even know. And they're happy because mainstream media is covering up for them, right? So we know what we have to unite, and we will unite because when our brothers at the African diaspora under Thomas Butler and the sugar workers unite, we had tumbled this government, they call it PNM. So have a nice night, Mr. Lennox, and thanks for the call.
Yes, indeed, of course. I want to say, while of course I see it as a position that I have taken, I want to tell the caller, go to the top of the class. Not that I'm pinning my own lapel and saying that, of course, we are like-minded, but certainly, I mean, it is practical. And of course, he did, of course, extensively address the matter as I have in terms of these fellas falling by the wayside, going into oblivion, if eventually, and leaving, of course, the UNC alone in whatever incarnation that it may be at a particular point in time in history. But let's go to my phone contact as well. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Yes.
Good night.
Good night to you.
You hear me good?
Loud and clear.
Watch me. I ain't sure about you and I'm going to talk to sorry, you know. But I didn't show you tell people to want vote for PNM. Now easy.
No. You didn't say that.
Because
all right, we have another call coming in as well. So tell me what to do. All right, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Uh-huh. I see. Right, okay. Right.
No.
I call it, just hold on. I have someone on the private phone. Hold on. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. All right, we will talk. Yeah. Yes, I will certainly take it up. Yeah, let me talk. Okay, all right, okay. President, good night. Just lower the volume on your receiver. Just lower the volume on your radio. Just lower the volume on your TV, on your radio, on your device. I call you. You'll have to call back. We're getting too much static there. Maybe I should have left the caller on the normal phone to have his contribution more disturbed. But that being as it may, I was making the point about the caller prior, who of course have put things in perspective. Yes, the history is, let's not waste time. The history is everybody wanted to be and appeared to be as Gary Griffith has manifested. All of them, whether Dukaran, same kind of scenario. Whether it's Abdullah, same kind of scenario. And even Makanda Daga, same kind of scenario. They believe they bring very little to the discussion and the politics. Because politics is not just influencing people. Politics is about also delivery. And none of them could claim that they have delivered anything except in relation, of course, to the UNC delivery. And why must you believe that out of 100, you suddenly can become 60% and I'm being generous here, because some of them believe that lining up with the UNC is a honor for the UNC and not for them. And therefore, they are bringing something like 80% to the discussion or to the electability of whatever arrangement that they would have made. Hogwash. Stupid. It does not equate with history. It does not. And let us not fool ourselves. And I am not that naive and stupid to have 18 or 19 established seats in a 41 parliament and have a fella or a party come in and share those 18 or 19 seats with him or her. I had to be a damn fool. If you are coming to the table, say you are going to bring home the Gomartin East, the Gomartin West, the Gomartin Central, Laventil, East Port of Spain. Port of Spain South, Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, Arima. Say you're going to bring those. You're going to bring home Labre. You're going to bring home, of course, Point 14. Say that. I had to be a damn backside to give you what is considered to be nuts already shell. Because you say, untested, you have not been tested anywhere, but you want part of my, what I consider to be domain, my empire? Not at all. And then you say that this is an accommodation. So I agree with Kamala Persad. That is why my party, for example, we focus on what? On the Laventils, Laventil East, Laventil West, and Port of Spain South. We have not made any bones about it and say anything else. But you think going into an alliance with or an arrangement with the UNC, as we have done already in the 2007 elections. I'm mad to say, give me one of the Shogwana seats for my candidates. Or I would put up somebody at your behest to, of course, support my party in the Couvers. No. That is irrational. That is nonsensical. And that is a man or a woman who makes those proposals or projects that to the public. They are naive. They are stupid. They are senseless. They are inane. They are obtuse. And the final one, they are dangerous. Dangerous. Look at Abdullah, for example. You get in. You could have never get on your own, as we have seen over elections subsequent to the 2010, 2015. You also ran. You're not even also ran. You are just a million mile distant away from any possibility of being electable by the electorate. It's stupid. But that brings another question, another issue. Why would the UNC want to, of course, accommodate themselves with people like who have demonstrated their irrationality? Why not seek out the NAR that has still a constituency And by your attachment, let's say, to my own party, for example, or vice versa, we probably together can make a dent in Laventille. But I will not go because I am from Laventille and I'm focused on Laventille. And of course, my party love, we're going to be talking about it more and more as this 12 months of thunder pain. And as we have started today, we want a better life. We must be pursuing a better life. We want a better life in Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, the only demonstrable entity in government, thank God we have that experience, so you cannot say that there is no experience of that, is the UNC. Whether it's Pandey, whether it's Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC. And all of those who are now changing their mind and changing color like at 24 hours, you know, a chameleon. I will first see it as, for what it is, camouflage. Camouflage. As soon as they get an opportunity, they go back, of course, to their what I consider to be set position, their default positions. You can't take those chances. And all of them now see what the ground report has been saying, what, of course, the corridor transformation has been saying, what, of course, the real media has been saying, what the observer has been saying, what, of course, people like Victor Roberts and Alan Roberts have been saying. You have to face reality. We are in a desperate position based on the management and the execution of policies and programs and the distribution of the resources of the country repose in the hands of a group of individuals who in the first place exhibited a criminal conduct in order to be where they are. But having been where they are, they then of course not exhibit deeper and more exponential and much more widespread evil. But we can see, a blind man can see that they are up to no damn good, and they were up to no damn good from the beginning, and therefore blue lights and of course the criminal justice system, therefore, and of course the civil justice system must now be the end game for them. I'm talking about Rowley and his bunch of criminals, the entire cabinet. Let's not waste time with that. So it's not surprising that, of course, Alexander and, of course, people like Dr. Kojo and etc. are looking, of course, for a soft or safe landing. And we are not going to castigate them for ultimately realizing what Trinidad and Tobago really is under Rowley and they. No, nothing wrong with that. People, of course, change their minds. People becomes, of course, conscious of their circumstance over time. But what we must not do is be complacent. Leading up to the election and maybe just before the election, you see the turn and next thing is a different story. No, we must be consistent. We must understand that it is the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa and of course the entire party must now get into government in order for us to, of course, recognize the salvation that is within our grasp and therefore in our index fingers to generate the transformation and the metamorphosis that is required in order for us to redeem and to, of course, expel those dangerous elements and at the same time salvage our own circumstance as a country. Other than that, we eat the bread that the devil need. Rowley and they, of course, are being the devils. If anyone, of course, I've been asked if anyone needs a wheelchair, you can contact us. Then contact us on that matter. I'll of course share that with you after this call. A pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox. I hear you clear. Everything nice. I seen everything nice. Here I call on. I call based on what happening with all these parties that come into our historical party, the United National Congress. They are realizing it didn't make no sense you go it alone because you can't be the PNM. The only party could beat and will beat the PNM is the United National Congress. And we want all hands on deck because we want a historical victory to fix back this place with the damage that they do to this place. And we don't need 5 years, you know, we need about 15 years straight in order to fix back this place from the damage that the People's National Movement have done to this country and still doing. So we welcome anybody. Just remember, what you're bringing to the table. What are you bringing to the table according to our leader? And anybody who trying to wash the linens in the open in a time like now, then they don't have the country at heart and the people of Trinidad and Tobago at heart. So you have a blessed night, Mr. Ham.
Well said, my friend. And I look forward always to your contribution. Very sober, very intelligent indeed, and very sagacious, and of course, very pragmatic as well. Yes, indeed. And while, of course, it has elements of what have been said before, but you have put it in total and absolute perspective and succinctly. And that is that they risk the inevitable of being relegated to the dustbin of political history. That is what is inevitable. And they risk as well that the UNC, if of course there was a total cooperation, will win by a much larger margin. And I take your point, very well thought out. By themselves, they will of course win. That is inevitable. But it's the margin of victory if there were no detractors and spoilers. We have a country to save, and all of us must be on board. And there can be no 2 and 3 and 4 leaders. One leader, one mission, one philosophy, and one salvation. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you as well. Pleasant good night
And
to you as
to
well.
everybody on the chat, Lennox, you see, I don't break rules. You see the time that I'm calling, your specific time.
Yes.
I don't break rules. I abide with rules because rules keep us in check.
Yes.
And if people have a problem with I wanting rules to be kept, that's their problem, not mine. Lennox, you have been missed. For the last couple of nights, you have been missed. We were like fish out of water,
Yes.
wondering what it is going on with the program.
Yes.
But tonight, we having less downtime, and let's hope it keeps up. We having problems still, but not as much as before.
Okay, good.
Right? Now, Lennox, so many things have been happening. But let's talk about the elephant in the room first. This was a shocker to even Pep supporters that Philip Alexander decided to join up with Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. Now, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar made a call, you understand, calling on all the smaller parties to come on board, right? But yes. Lennox, as you rightly said, let us see what he's bringing. Yes, you told them, let us see what you all are bringing. You're not coming with your hands swinging. We have to see what it is bringing. And if it is that he feel, because we heard over the last couple of years how he washed his mouth and his supporters, in particular Barry Boudram, come in here every night and stinking up Kamla, right? Kamla had to go. Kamla old. Now suddenly tonight, Kamla is not old. And Kamla don't have to go. You see how they are hypocrites, Lennox? You see? Again, I just have to listen to some of these people and laugh,
Of course.
Yeah, man. Yeah, rather and what I want to know what Philip bringing to the table.
Of course.
Well, we know he has a big mouth. But I would say to him, no. You come in, nobody say no, you're welcome. But know your place. Respect Mrs. Pasabi says so. And don't have your people stinking up the woman. You hear? Because she made an offering to you all, right? She invited everybody. Come to the table. Bring what you have. Let's see what you have. And you have something to say, go behind closed doors and say it. Because if you come out and like the Energizer Bunny with a verbal diarrhea, you will get it. We are not going to stand for it. Because you see, this election is too important. And all who want to carry on with your pettiness and get on like real man, Lennox, forgive me if I say something wrong. But sometimes that's the only way you can describe people. You want to get on like a man, go right ahead. We have an election to win. We have an election to win. And what I should also put in, man and corner house Mako. Right? Go right ahead. The person should be back when it's Rowley, what Rowley do to the country.
That's right.
That is the one who should be back when. Rowley has pushed us into poverty. He has made paupers of the middle class. Well, don't actually the poorer class. They are now the working poor, as Mikey always referred to them. They are the working poor. And if that is not sufficient to bring to all you and to stop bad talking, people who only shouldn't be bad talking, I don't know what's wrong with all. They need help. Or they should call on Dr. Phil. Lennox, one of my next issues is this gentleman from Howard University who resigned, the president, the one who bestowed the doctorate on Keith Rowley.
Yes.
After he bestowed the order, our highest order onto him, right?
Yes.
It was scratch for scratch. This man is saying that the country, they need to put more emphasis and money into education. Lennox, isn't that one of the things that Mrs. Pasabi Sessa was striving for? Because she always said education takes you out of poverty.
Oh, yes.
Education lifts your standard of living. But no, Rowley, his good friend, when he came in there, he destroyed everything. The laptops were no good. They were using it for porn. They changed the scholarship to bursary. They lower the standard of education in UE so people can get degree. Right? And you come in now to talk about they need to put more money and more emphasis on education. That was Mrs. Pasabi's goal from the time she came into office. That was her goal. And Rowley destroyed that dream. But Lennox, he's a person we have to keep an eye on. Is Rowley bringing him back here, grooming him to take over the PNM? We have to look at that. And before I leave Lennox, I want to ask a question. Why was the SSA removed, the head of the SSA removed, and they brought back that brigadier from who was the High Commissioner?
Yes,
why did they bring him back to head the SSA?
Those are salient questions.
What it is going on?
Those are salient questions.
I think it's Baptiste. I think it's Baptiste. Jean-Paul Baptiste or something, so is his name. Why did they bring him back?
Yeah, the same Baptiste that I suspect he came from, of course, the emergency if it's that same Batiste, but I am not clear. But if it's that same Batiste, that's the
Because
man who
he was the
called
head.
from the Prime Minister
He was
office.
the head of the army.
All
He
right,
was, and they took him and they sent him as High Commissioner, I think,
oh no,
to one of those places, America somewhere,
all right, okay, the
right? And now they bring him back now. Yes, Saturday they brought him back to take over the SSA. Why?
Right.
Something is going on.
Of course,
Something is going on in this country. And Lennox,
it is sinister. You can say that from
we had 7 murders. 7 murders over the weekend.
Yes.
And if that is not enough to shake people and get them out there, I don't know what is. But that man from St. Lucia spoke tonight really, really nice on that platform tonight.
Okay,
and Lennox, one of the things that you must continually, one of the things that you must continually play, remind the people that visually impaired man, what he said, what he lied on the platform was, because everything that man said, it was a prediction of what Rowley's government was going to do. Lennox, welcome back.
Yes.
Take care. Have a good night. Thanks for listening to my 2 cents. And have a good night.
Yes, indeed, of course. That was our external correspondence. Of course, she can break the line at any time. Of course, she did mention discipline. But of course, I thought I would, because of the lapse in the last 3 or 4 nights, that I would leave let's say, the opportunity open so that the people simply just went in and they pushed back the gate and out of the starting box. Of course, everybody put in their 2 cents, and I think that is wonderful. And so from time to time, maybe I should, of course, have a little lapse of a day or 2, but not just 4 days. 4 days provides too much information to be garnered or to be expressed in just one night. And so I will try to do it in less days in terms of my absence. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night again, Mr. Lennox. I'm venting. I'm venting tonight. Why I'm venting?
Yes.
The Prime Minister once told us that the population of Trinidad and Tobago does not read, right? They don't read.
Yeah.
Right? He said that.
Yeah.
So I want to know, why open library all over the place when we have windows to the world with a touch of our finger on our screen? Now I speak in here just for me. I believe we have something called the internet, and we have something called Google, that anything we want to look up on, we just touch it on our phone and we can get it. A library, swimming pool, these things don't make sense. So I find, like, it's just a waste of taxpayers' money all the time, and people going around bigging up library. The Prime Minister tell us that the population don't read. He know everything about the Trinidad and Tobago, but you open library for the same people you say don't read. That making sense? You have a blessed night again, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, well, I think I'm going to touch 2 things here that came from, of course, the previous caller and this caller that just went. Because even if you could read, even if the country reads, oh gosh, library, and then, of course, you're quite right, to make a mockery and to make, of course, an ass of the situation. You say they can't read, they don't read, but you're putting in library. But I'm saying that even if they could read, because the man acting as a caveman, as a Neanderthal, yes, as a caveman, as a man of a prehistoric vintage background or genetics, yeah? What you want me to say? But no, all of those dwarf to the real objective. The real objective is to what? Is to raid the treasury. That's what that is all about. Kickbacks and slush fund for the PNM. That's the only reason, because he knows that it's nonsensical to have libraries when you could provide everybody with a laptop, but laptop is too transparent in terms of its acquisition, and you can easily, but you can of course foil up, and you can expand and you can project and you can misrepresent figures as far as the construction of these obsolete edifices are concerned. For what? For library? Of course, I mentioned that some time ago. I'm glad to see that people have of course taken it up on board and decided to express themselves. That is an asshole or a whole ass policy. Give them their laptops and even their smaller devices, but instead, or the cheaper devices like tablets, but instead, and of course provide a 24/7 island-wide internet support so access can be made. But no, the knowledge about access to internet service is too commonplace, so they cannot say, for example, whilst we know that you may be paying a few cents a day for internet, they want to hide. If it was their responsibility, they would want to say it's $1,000 a day. That's what they will do. And don't tell me you don't know and you do not have evidence to show that, because renting Al-Wari and his family, renting from them, I'm talking about those buildings, whether it's number 1 Alexandra or number 3, or of course that on Abercrombie Street or that on Frederick Street, etc., or in Barataria. Regardless, it's millions they're collecting a month. Inflated prices. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Working hard.
Yeah, real trouble with the internet. We're talking about access to the internet, and the internet really is terrible, isn't it? And it showed in the past few days with you. But if we had Starlink, which is Elon Musk satellite, we would have get real good internet service because it would have been closer to the earth. You know what I mean? And then the Coast Guard could get a radio connection working.
Yes.
But Lennox, we have to talk seriously because today the UNC had that meeting in Sandy Grande, and I was very impressed, and actually my eyes opened when I heard some of the speakers speak in Sandy Grande. They spoke very, very truthfully, and they were very intelligent in their use of the English language and the way they presented the information to us. And I say that, and I give emphasis because when the Prime Minister speaks to us, he speaks to us like we are stupid, like we stupid, like we bush people, uneducated and unemployed and underemployed. And I say that because he always gives us evasive answers. When he talks about the police, he's very evasive. When that SSA meeting place got raided, he didn't tell us. He said the police was the one who did it. It's up to the police. They're doing it. Then when he talked about the Tobago thing, he said, well, I found out in Guyana who did it, but he never disclosed this to us. I don't know why he does this. And I think in my mind that maybe he's doing it to keep us away from asking questions, to keep us stupid. Because he did say when he was running on the platform for the Prime Minister and PNM and supporting his party, he said, you don't need to worry about nothing. You don't need to know anything. Let me do everything and make all decisions to run this country, and I don't need anything from you. I just need your vote. So basically, that's what he was saying. I need your vote, or don't worry about nothing, and don't ask no questions. No water, no food, no road. I don't care. Just don't ask no questions. That's how he was running. But I want to say something that's more important. You see, a few years ago when FATCA was a big deal, and everybody was talking about FATCA, Kamala Prasad Biswas was the only person to speak up and say, what the hell is this? Why is the United States meddling in our business? Why do we have to tell them about FATCA? Why do we have to give them all the foreign assets and everything and list everything? Why? Why does the United States need to know that? We're not terrorists. And she questioned that. And a lot of people who were Republicans in the United States were shocked. They were like, who is she? She's great. Look what she's doing. They loved her. They were like, you're right. Why should the United States demand these things from other countries, especially a small island like Trinidad? And the former Prime Minister spoke up about it and questioned it. Nobody else did, no other country did. They bowed down and relented. So I say this because I believe that we need a leader who could stand up, and even though she may be elderly and feeble, she still has that voice that carries. And I say this because I don't think we really need CARICOM. I've been pushing CARICOM since I came here. And for the 8 years, CARICOM is a waste of time. It's a free trip for everybody, and again, a free vacation, free food and travel. That is what it is. The jet set to all over the world, and we pay for it. And OAS is a waste of time too. OAS is the Organization of America. It's funded by the United States, and the United States pays for all these meals and travels. But it also is written by Washington, D.C., and it fulfills a U.S. agenda. And they can isolate any one of us and force their values and political beliefs on us. You see, I say this tonight because of Haiti. Haiti was the only country that ever revolted against slavery and won. They beat the French. And what did the French do? Came back and gave them sanctions and ostracized them. But when in Trinidad, we were having slave uprisings, and we had many, many all over the islands, we had them. While Haiti was having theirs, we had ours too down here. And they were all brutally crushed and silenced. So while Haiti was independent for hundreds of years, they were living in poverty, African nation, ostracized and isolated, and ignored, no trade, nothing. France did that, the United States supported it. Only later on, the United States started dealing with Haiti and started supporting corrupt governments. You see, Haiti has a lot of resources, you know. Guyana has it, Trinidad has it, all the Caribbean island has it. And we get one vote with the United States telling them what we want. So I say this because you see, Trump is probably going to win the next election, and Trump changed things around in El Salvador. He tried to change things around in parts of South America, and he will come here because Trump does not like the PNM, and he does not like Rowley, Prime Minister Rowley. He hates him, and we know that because if you live in America and you read some of the news, you'll get that sense. And so the political landscape is going to change in the next election. And we have to be prepared because Trump may win, even though he may be convicted, but the Supreme Court said no, he could run for election. He could run in Colorado. And I agree with that. And I say this because it's time for us now to be standing with Haiti and fighting for Haiti. We're all watching and saying and blaming them and saying, look how they are gangs. They came about like that because of intentional decades and centuries of punishment by white governments. And they put their own puppets in there, just like they do here. The PNM is funded by foreign entities, and we don't know who they are. They wouldn't disclose it because they don't want campaign disclosure, financial disclosure. They don't even want to disclose their own finances locally. You think they could tell us who's funding them? So I say, sometimes I feel like we don't just have the power to change our constitution. We could do education reform. That is what we need if we want to become another Singapore. But people will have to die, and we have to make those sacrifices. And it will come. It may not come now or next year or 5 years, but it will come in the future because too many people now who are suffering are now waking up and saying, wait a minute, I'm suffering because of why? Because this country is so rich and we can't get water and we staying quiet. Chin Chin Road had no water, and they have children in that village. No water, and the children have school the next day. No water, and they have to take showers. This is 2020, 2024. And the Prime Minister still acting like it's 1908, 1912. It's like this because, yeah, we need to now stop. What we're doing right now is when we talk about independence and constitutional reform, and when that guy from St. Lucia, that opposition leader came here, you know what in the news they were talking about in St. Lucia? This guy was saying to the people in St. Lucia, hey, You hear what the opposition leader say? He said, we have a constitution. All they don't know what a constitution is. All they know what the constitution says. He was like now teaching them constitution, what the constitution is in their country, because the people don't know, just like that.
Constitutional
So if
awareness,
we
yes.
take the stand and really push, we could make change across the whole Caribbean. All right, that's my comment. I take long. Thank you for giving me
Thank you very
time,
much.
Lennox. I appreciate
Of
it.
course,
All right.
of course, merely for clarification, of course, when you talk about the Constitution, of course, is the arrangement nestled in law or in a book, let me put it that way, in our case, because you have...
I want to interject. I want to make one
sorry.
cut.
Go ahead,
I want to
sorry about
interject
that.
one comment about the Constitution, okay?
I thought
And
you had gone.
I'll make
Go
it
ahead.
fast. There was no founding fathers in Trinidad, no founding fathers. What happened was that constitution was a copy and paste from all the other colonies, former colonies. After the colonists got all the big contracts and they gave us independence, they already had locked in all the big contracts for resources from here to Africa to Ghana to everywhere. All the diamonds and minerals and oil and gas, they already had their companies lined up. And when they gave us independence, they already knew what crooked government was going to come in place, what weak position they would get that person in. And we were so uneducated, we stood by and we watched. And that is why we could never see reform, because there's a tight hold on this government. And we need to stop it. But that was my comment. And we do need to have our own constitution, because we don't need a copy and paste job from United Kingdom. They've done enough damage. And now, by the way, I want to make it quick. You see the church giving back money. The church wants to give money back now. The church invested in a company called the South Sea Company. And the South Sea Company was a monopolistic shipping company that shipped slaves all over the Caribbean. And the woman who is in charge of the church committee or whatever, she is from Barbados. Barbados had the most slaves. So how appropriate. You see how with time, we get to wake up and we have to fight and stand up for what we believe in. And it'll happen, Lennox. I feel like I had a little epiphany tonight, and I say, I might not make it to the match, but we have to keep talking so other people can take a stand and talk to and then put fear in the ones who control us. All right, I'm not taking so much because people could get vexed on the chat. You know how it is.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was making a point of the meaning of a constitution, and not that any argument pro or against what, of course, the historical antecedent that the caller just enunciated. I'm merely saying that the Constitution, of course, is a set of arrangements put in a book, that the ostensibly the entire society agreed to as to the relationship among them. And of course, among them also mean the institutions that would have been developed, whether it be the Teaching Service Commission, whether it be the Police Service Commission, whether it be the Public Service Commission, etc. Of course, whether the role of Parliament, the role of the cabinet, the role of the Prime Minister within that framework, the role of the judiciary, and we can go on and on. So it's a relationship that a society agree to engage in, and it is considered to be the supreme law. So when you infringe my right, which is enshrined in the Constitution, to prevent me from speaking, or to prevent me from moving, or prevent me from, of course, attaching myself to an institution of conscience, because I have a political view. Once it is not ultra vires the Constitution, then you have infringed mine. And so I have a duty and responsibility to take it, of course, to the judicial system in order to, of course, adjudicate on whether or not my constitutional right has been infringed. Why have I chosen that aspect of it to, of course, elaborate based on the last caller? Well, it was the Prime Minister, Rowley, after the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council said that the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago attempted to usurp, to take away, to replace, to supplant our right to vote, persons of our choice, to fulfill constitutionally provided offices in this country from a political perspective. And you see, I am saying so because, as some callers already said, it is a galloping dictatorship that Rowley is engaged in. But within the context, as Gary Griffith would have said, the same constitution that is democratically nestled. And of course, democracy is government by the people, of the people, and for the people. So again, it comes back to our right to vote. And Rowley went to the parliament, in other words, and told the population that, listen, he did not infringe the constitution of the country, our Republican constitution. He was unrepentant. So what does that tell you? The man is a rank and unadulterated dictator. It's obvious. Because if you would not, a simple thing like that, the Privy Council said that you, the government, the cabinet of this country, infringe our right to vote when we want at the appropriate time as established under the rules. To vote who we want, and they said that the cabinet effectively took away that right, and they determined whether or not somebody must be extended their time in those offices that is supposed to be elected at a particular point in time, as 5 years is the established time in our constitution for any government in office with a cabinet and managing the affairs of the country. Understand what is happening here. The other point I want to make, coming out from one of the callers, is a continuation of everything Rowley and they touch turns to the biblical pillar of salt. It turns to disaster. It turns to mayhem. It turns to a shambolic or chaotic scenario. And always nestled in something that is pernicious, something that is evil, something that is vindictive, something that does not equate to good government, good governance, and of course, the caring of a government by the very nature of the responsibility of a cabinet or government to manage the affairs in the interest of the people. It may be overlooked, but I thought it was sufficiently important to mention tonight that St. Augustine was seen as the educational capital of Trinidad and Tobago under the UNC, and was part and parcel of the zoning of the country for economic empowerment, if you want to call it that, zones. And like, of course, East Port of Spain was considered to be the cultural capital where, of course, you will develop the steel pan, the calypso, folklore dancing, of course, carnival, etc. And so, of course, they can make a living. Not all of them would be so inclined, but certainly once you identify a person who is so inclined will gravitate. Well, in spite of that laudable intent, and they were well on their way, because, of course, the debate campus was to further enhance the St. Augustine campus in terms of its reach and in terms of its matriculation and, of course, its student population. I make the point to show that today, in the advisories of coming out of Europe and North America, Canada and the United States, is that St. Augustine has been equated, characterized, and equal to What did they say and advise against Nelson Street? Yes, people. St. Augustine has been placed on the advisory list of these countries. And of course, moving from the educational capital to one that is on advisory on these countries against Trinidad and Tobago and cautioning their own citizens not to come, or if you do, don't go there. It's bizarre. And let's go straight, of course, to my phone line and let me hear a pleasant good night. Yay. Go on, let's put. Yes. Right. Yeah. Caller, hold on. I have another caller on the next line. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I show you that. Yes. These are Neanderthals. Total madness and all about greed to finish Barry's house. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's right. You're like our street, very head in the sand. Yeah. 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 Backside up. Yes. Yes. Yeah. All hell break loose. All right, my friend. Yes. All right, let me get back to the normal line. Let me go back to it. Yes. Okay then. Yes. Sorry about that, Mr. Rima, but I had someone on the other phone. Pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. Rima.
Yes, Lennox. Hello again, Lennox. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Lennox.
Go ahead.
As you're on the subject with the advisory from the United States and other countries,
yes,
with the situation here with the crime and so, where they're advising people where not to go.
Yes.
I hear that the tourist that got robbed last week was looking to head by the Desperados Spaniard.
Yes, and
I know if it's true. You hear anything about that?
Yes, I mentioned it this morning on the ground report. Yes, it is a fact. They were heading there because they were in the corner of George
you
and
think it's
Queen Street.
easy?
So just above Despas, just about. They were almost there when they were attacked.
Oh my, yes, there was on Queen Street, I heard.
Yes.
Yes, Queen Street.
Yes, just about.
All right. Well, anyhow, I hear in the news tonight that they found a quantity of drugs in the forest in Cedros. And the amount of drugs it is, Lennox, and I mean the word of the drugs too, marijuana, Lennox, it's not sounding good. This thing's scary. You hear what I'm telling you? And all that drugs these people lost, they're going to have problem down in Cedros, you know.
Oh, yes.
Listen, Lennox, it's pressure in the camp here now, you know.
Yeah.
It's problem, you know, Lennox.
As was the case.
And next thing, I pray that this country come like what go on in Haiti, because there's drugs they find. It go be a serious spray down in that place down there in Cedros, you know.
Yeah.
People might have to evacuate. I don't know if you hear it, but when you hear it and you cipher it because you're stupid, you could cipher thing good. You're from the ghetto and you go cipher that for them and break it down and let them know what's coming. I'll leave that job for you to handle, Lennox.
Yes.
Lennox, it's getting late. Time to say good night. Okay.
We have 7 more minutes to people, of course. You're quite right, because I mean, the nonsense Rowley spoke when he handed over the key or whatever it is to Desperados. And I wonder why the Desperados leadership didn't cost that man one time they had handed back the blasted key and say, you move us, of course, from Trangwich Road and put us, of course, where the devil and all well, I should say the devil supporters afraid to enter. And he has the audacity at the handing over ceremony to tell them, I don't want to come back here and hear that somebody died. And just during the construction itself, at the corner of Queen and the Nelson Streets, there was a drive-by shooting, and the abandoned motor car was found, of course, on the hill itself by Desperately Crescent. What that tells you is that the fellas there from Desperado side and those on Nelson Street are in war, and yet still you come and you put like some police officers when they, as a form of punishment, and since they cannot, of course, bring legitimate charges against individuals who they suspect to be in gangs, what they do, if a fella is in war, for example, from Junjun, but of course his enemy is in Mova, they take him up and let him free, let him walk the streets of Mova, hoping that his enemy will, of course, sight him up and kill him. That is murder, orchestrated, planned, premeditated. Yeah, what else it could be? By police officers conducting themselves in that way, picking up. Charge them. That is your job. And preferably charge the right people, because when they go to court, it's a different story. And we have seen it, of course, too many failures or too many botch charges, and therefore decisions in the court that must conform to the rules. And if there is no evidence against an individual, they have to go free. It is better than 1,000 persons who may be guilty of an act be set free under adjudication than you convict one person that is not guilty, that is innocent, in other words. That's the principle. And if your intelligence and all that money you're spending does not work, get the hell out of office, Rowley, Imsbert, Hines, and so on, because you yourselves, as Hines told us at one time, when myself, Archbishop Burke, and others at the Angostura facility orchestrated an anti-crime symposium, as we do every 2 years, under an organization we created called the Ad Hoc Committee for the Eradication of Crime in Laventille. Let me repeat that. The Ad Hoc Committee for the Eradication of Crime in Laventille. We organized that. Hines comes to that meeting. Of course, we invited him as the parliamentary representative at the time. And when he was given an opportunity to speak, he says the very organizers are the ones who are encouraging crime. That dunderhead, that ass of a hole, that whole ass, that, of course, gypsy dreadlocks. Can't think because his dreadlocks appear to be too thin, playing bite-to-bite with alligator. And competitively, he always wins. The man is a total ass and a half, not just a backside and a half. So I want to tell you, I agree with all the callers. We are in turbulent times. We are in horrendous times. But because there are people who know and how to emerge out of this quagmire, we must therefore repose our hope, aspirations. But in order to do so, those who are the creators, those who are the progenitors, those who are the genesis, those who are the creators and manufacturers of these horrendous times, Rowley and the government and the cabinet and all of his kitchen cabinet must be annihilated politically. And you have the opportunity, after, of course, delivering a long, hot 12 months in 2024, as we move inexorably to elections in 2025. It has been long. It has been tough. It has almost been as if it will never arrive. But it is here. The goalpost is near. The finish line is a begging. And of course, a salvation and relief is what we all aspire to and must contribute to. The others, those who have been sullying the name of Kamala and of course UNC will eventually come. They know that Rowley, when he went and opened the velodrome, the cycling velodrome in Vancouver, never mentioned about corruption, even though he will say so amorphously and of course just like some kind of epiphany, take it out of the sky. Just as how they exonerated and of course vindicated Kamala on the question of the emails, fake, Rowley's imagination, and of course pernicious at that. They never, of course, haven't opened, of course, the Aquatic Center never said anything about corruption of the Kamala Prasad-Bissessa administration. They went quietly and opened it and, of course, beat themselves on the chest. But we conscious citizens know that was wrong. To malign and to bear false witness. And they still resist, of course, while at the same time incorporating the Cuba Hospital into a major plank of their so-called parallel health program or regime for COVID. They never apologized. They never said sorry to Kamala Prasad-Bissessa or the UNC or even the population for misleading us or attempting to mislead us. They never did. And they were so pernicious and so evil and so wicked and so dangerous that they are the greatest threat to the democracy and to the economy and to Trinidad and Tobago as a group and as individuals, particularly the office of the Prime Minister. They went and manufactured and choreographed, of course, further falsehood against the UNC by, of course, bringing the Vincent Nelson matter to the fore and Rowley saying that somehow it's like Pamasa and that, of course, Vincent Nelson is a state witness, all of that, and then when it collapsed in their faces as the humiliation that was meted out to, of course, Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen, became resolved and null and void and of no effect as the DPP had no choice under specific circumstance, which I am not prepared to explain tonight, but it will be. And the so-called fictitious, I should say fictitious, the manifestation of some kind of indemnity arrangement that caused Rowley, of course, to fire Al-Rari and not still apologize to us. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
One thing before you go, I want to tell the public and all the adult listeners, I want them to see how the people uniting and striking on buying KFC. I want them to unite and remove the common enemy, which is the People's National Movement, led by Dr. Keith Christopher Wicked.
Christopher Wicked, I hear you, a wicked son of a gun. But you know, I have to say it every night. Rowley is a rapist and a pedophile. You don't expect anything better than that, or you could expect worse. But of course, anything he does is always because it is part and parcel of his DNA. A natural criminal, a predator, sexual and otherwise. And should be, the entire kabang, the entire PNM edifice, including that physical structure, a bizarre, pernicious, and clearly monstrosity being constructed and funded by projects such as village council and community centers, health centers, and of course, as the caller rightly said, libraries, those Neanderthal, those Jurassic asinine specimen of inhumanity, obsolescence to the hilt. And we take the final call. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox,
hey.
Good night again. One for the road. One for the road.
Yes.
Tomorrow, I would like very much, and over the next couple of days or whatever, because today is what? Monday?
Monday, yes.
Colin Smith on the chat. Colin Smith on the chat wants you to address UNC corruption. That UNC must never ever get back in office again because of their corruption. But I am telling Colin Smith, if he has evidence of UNC corruption, which Kate, SRP Kate, spent 48 million to find, and she couldn't find anything, take it to her. Take it to Rowley. Take it to the DPP. So I'm calling on you, Lennox. See if you could find someone help Colin Smith now. The man just say a token about the aquatic center thing and have the gall and the gumption to tell you to talk about UNC corruption. Lennox, I would love to hear about UNC corruption. I say, if they corrupt, jail them. He might get a reward from SRPK. Take it. If you have proof, sir, that UNC is corrupt, don't just come here every night and run your mouth. Come and say what UNC did. We would love to hear. Like how we know Marlene Bella Invisible Community Center. We know Camille had money she had back and she abused the credit card. Right? We know Rowley how he buy Ines Gate and what happened to his Scarborough Hospital material. We know what they do with the procurement bill. We know about the 800 recusals. Well, sir, you come now and tell us what the UNC did. So, Lennox, I'm giving you some homework. If you don't mind, let's just satisfy Colin Smith. Because I feel he's going to get a heart attack. Every night beating the same drum over and over and over. Lennox, why don't you talk about UNC corruption? Every night he asking the same question. So Lennox, with that I'll leave you. Have a good night.
Same to you, my dear. Well, of course, and that's a good note to end. Of course, I want to tell him that if he will get a heart attack, well, go right ahead. I mean, nobody cares because, of course, let me just conclude by saying that the PNM with 107 schools, even though, of course, they denied that there was 100 schools, but it turned out to be 107 in various stages of completion and completion, let me say. But, of course, there is nothing of that nature to suggest that there was any corruption. 107 schools, and you can't find corruption. You can't find, of course, with respect to the aquatic center. You can't find with the velodrome. You can't find with the hospital. Boy, oh boy, I think. Let me just take this final call. I'll take this final call. A pleasant good night. Yes, good night.
Yeah, Lennox, a pleasant good night.
Yes.
I just want to tell you last caller there, that person who she talking about there saying that bring evidence of the UNC corruption. Tomorrow night, if God willing, I go play a clipping to let the whole world know how the devil does operate and how he does manifest himself in the average human being. So tomorrow, please, the Lord, I go bring evidence of that and you go understand how the devil does use people even Kit Rowley. So tomorrow, please, Lord, I will try and get evidence for you. Right?
Thank you very much.
Dr.
Thank you very much.
Smith.
Yes, yes, indeed. Of course. And let me conclude now with respect to the character that, of course, the previous caller spoke of. I want to tell him in non-certain terms. There is none as blind as he or she who refuses to see, even though he had 20/20 vision. And let me conclude finally by saying that, of course, I cannot be a fool for you. You have to be a fool for yourself. And of course, you're doing a good job of it. Don't involve the corridor, don't involve Lennox Smith, don't involve even Kamala, and I can speak categorically because you will be, of course, engaged in an exercise in abject futility. Because we have just outlined, and if you can't understand that Rowley and they lied and lied and lied and lied, and they ought not to be in office right now, then of course you are a foregone, what I consider to be in a crippled state of cognitive dissonance. You're looking for something that clearly it does not exist. We can't help you. So of course, so I'm sorry, Ms. Santa Cruz, I can't help that guy because he is asking for something that simply doesn't exist. He may be, of course, in a state like Rowley and they, of course, delusion, illusion, and of course, attempting to attempting by way of circumlocution, roundabout talk. But what he doesn't understand is that Rowley and they are damn scams. So they will never speak the truth. And you so stupid, you asking for what? For what? Corruption under UNC? That Rowley and they say and all cannot provide the evidence? Well, I have to be a fool like you to, of course, engage in that futile exercise. So once again, nobody could be a fool for you, Colin. You could only be a fool for yourself, and don't involve me in that. Yes, indeed. Let's go straight, of course, to maybe an appropriate closure. I'm sorry we weren't able to play, of course, Kamala Prasad Bissasa's entire presentation, but we're going to do it tomorrow. Yes, indeed. We're going to do it tomorrow. Sorry about that. Wow. Boy. Let me just take this final one. Final one, people. I have to go. We have a long day tomorrow. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Lennox. Pleasant good night again. 55 million for a building that nobody ain't use. What you call that? 55 million, Mr. Lennox, for a building that nobody ain't use, and the DPP declined the building.
Yeah, corruption to the extreme.
You have a blessed night.
Yes, yes. You call that corruption to the extreme, and look at Balize House. That's all you have to say in response to that. But let's go straight, of course, to our closing musical interlude, or should I say, musical terminus.
Destiny. There is another force plaguing my serenity. It's a stumbling block that controls reality. In order to satisfy my hunger for unity, I'm trying to blow to my security. Getting out of a pit, pulled down by my brother's hands. Can't understand. It's the same old thing, clinging to my very core. Blocking my success, dragging me down more and more. I must find a way to embrace the truth.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's exercise. Of course, pleasant. Well, once again, good night, but have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and of course, don't forget tomorrow morning the ground report. Andy, Michael, myself, of course, Andy, is indisposed at this point in time, but of course, have a wonderful one, and of course, I'll see you tomorrow on the ground report from 6 to 9. Mikey and myself essentially will be, of course, at your behest and disposal and service Yes, indeed. So you have a wonderful one. God bless. Bye-bye.
To hold my own upon the sound of the gun. I took off like lightning boom. Taking that stride to claim my goal. But to make that move with many a twist and turn. To find myself, I had to build. Where there's a will, there's always a way to go. We shall never know. The road is long and there are many signs. But make up your mind and take your time.
Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now, just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation. Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now, just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation. Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now, just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation. Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now, just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation.
Faris, come down, come down. UNC, in tongue. I don't want to but look how high the crime it is now. PNM feel the bright. They now win election tonight. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there, Rowley. Take me to with that vibe. Champa, go to them, they not nice. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there. I just want to warn you before the mixing would concern you. They went like keto and walk voodoo for the people and them to vote you. On the IG post you look nice. 1 million followers, 1 million likes. In the grocery the food price high. Give we 2% and see we reply. That man can mama guy. You feel it too bright. Yeah, we need election tonight. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there, Rowley. Take me to pay that vice. Calling in with them, they not nice. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there. Hines, I want you come down. You're going on the beat up to mama guy, poor people. Good, you get wet down. Champa always in a zest. Least for development in a mess. Come and give the government credit, can arrest. Remember when you buy all the wig and dress? Comments a million, see your check. Tell the people them how you get it. PNM government them on fit. Every minute them would raise the budget. PNM government them on fit. Suffer poor people in pandemic. PNM government them on fit. Give we 2% then they laugh at it. PNM government them on fit. Them on fit. PNM feel the bright. They got win election tonight. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there, Rowley. Take me to pay that vice. Champa, go to them, they not nice.
nice. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there, Rowley. Rowley, come down, come down. UNC in tongue, in tongue. Faris, come down, come down. UNC in tongue, in tongue. Rohan, come down, come down. UNC in tongue, in tongue. Imbut, come down, come down. UNC in tongue, in tongue. BNM feel the bright. The guy win election tonight. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there, Rowley. Take me stupid advice. Shampa go to them, they not nice. Come down from there, Rowley. Come down from there. I just want to warn you before the mixing would concern you. They went like keto and one voodoo for the people and them to vote you. On the IG post you look nice. 1 million followers, 1 million likes. In the grocery the food price high. Give we 2% and feed me with lie. That man can mama.
Since you take over as Prime Minister, it's plenty pressure. We have to suffer, and you will do nothing better. Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, Rowley really have to go. Since you come in power, you is a big failure. Collapse the economy and it do nothing for we. What you have to show, we don't really know. What you have to show, we don't really know. Sorry Trinidad and Tobago, but Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. The crime rate is out of hand, they're shooting up we blessed land. We need more protection, it's time to take some action. We living in fear, it's too much to bear. We living in fear, it's too much to bear. And the PNM don't really care. Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go.
Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now. Just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation. Do you have a budding business, a non-governmental organization, a community event, or a public interest matter to share with the public? Promote and advertise with the Corridor Transformation ad segment. The rates are affordable and tailored to meet your needs. Call us now. Just ask for Annie at 336-6594. You will be glad you did. Once again, call Annie for all your advertising and promotion needs at 336-6594 on the Corridor Transformation.